my name is Roseanne Eckert. I would like to thank the board for passing this resolution, but I would like to suggest that the resolution is just a piece of paper without action. I would ask this board to look at existing policies. The board has policies that require recess and encourage recess in elementary schools, but they are not enforced because the teachers are under the pressure of the test, and so even though they know children need exercise, they deny recess. I'm asking the board to enforce the policy on limitations on homework, on weekends, and over holidays, and even on Halloween. I can't count the number of years that my son was given homework on Halloween. Why? Because of the test. I would also ask this board to take the action of encouraging the use of portfolios and other alternatives to the state test. I'm afraid that many parents and maybe even some teachers don't know that they can use portfolios for third graders who might not pass the state test. That should be an immediate program that every school is looking at. And finally, this board can show action regarding the resolution by canceling the administration of the BAFS, the BAFS-1 test that is scheduled to begin for the entire next week, October 27th. Teachers will be taken away from instruction time. Children will not be getting lessons next week because they're going to take a practice test that has not been field tested or looked at for reliability. And what are they practicing? They're practicing maybe what they've learned in the first semester for a test that hasn't been developed yet. So I hope that this board will show that it means what it says in terms of the resolution and immediately cancel the administration of the fall practice test. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Rosemary Jensen, and I want to thank the board as well for passing this resolution. And again, I am grateful that you did it, but I think we need to have more action. I am an administrator for the United Opt-Out National Movement. I've been to DC for the past 4 years trying to beat back the tests because I have watched, I'm a proud graduate of Pearl Springs High School, class of '83, gold coats. I taught in Broward County Public Schools for 10 years, and my children have been in the school since 2002. What I have seen is just an avalanche of testing and the narrowing of curriculum and the punitive impacts of these tests on schools. I don't even want you to kick the can down the road for 3 years. I don't think we need EOCs because we know these aren't about assessing children. We know these are about evaluating teachers. That's all that those are about. It has nothing to do with our kids. So that's a waste of time and money. Assessments are great, but we don't need to do them every year, 4 to 5 times a year. That's what the FSAs originally were scheduled for. Not 2 times a year, but 3 to 4 times a year. We already know what the outcome is going to be. We can look at Utah's results. We can look at New York's results. We can look at what's happening in Philadelphia. We can look at what's happening in Chicago. Kids are being failed at a rate of 70%. We already know that. We know that that's what's going to happen. So who's going to be disproportionately impacted by that? ESE children, our ELL children, our children who come from poverty because we don't want to talk about the real issues of what impacts learning. I get tired of this belief that it's all teachers and that we're not professional enough. I went to the University of Florida in the 80s. They had a 5-year pro-teach program. FSU has a phenomenal teacher education program. USF has had a phenomenal one as well. 5 placements, research in the classroom. Our teachers in Florida, we know how to teach. We're not being allowed to teach. They're handed scripted curriculums. They're handed test after test. And my kids in May last year might have well stayed home because their education was so interrupted, my daughter is a junior, by the testing. There was so much going on. She just said to me, she goes, you know what, this was a free month, did nothing. So that, all of this is great, but other counties in the state have stopped testing. Alachua County canceled 60 tests. And the FAIR test was stopped because of Susan Boyles, a kindergarten teacher in Alachua County who stood up and said, I'm not doing this. This isn't good for kids. I don't have the time. I can assess kids without all this stuff. And that's why the FAIR test is over. So there are district tests that we can impact and take away from our kids until we can get Tallahassee to push back. But we need to do something other than pass resolutions. We really need to show that we are committed to our kids and our teachers who are feeling immense stress. And our teachers, the stress that they feel rolls down to our kids. And I have 2 kids in the school, and I'm a little tired of the stress that's placed on them as well. They are not data points, and they are not there to validate a teacher's pay. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? as a resident of Coconut Creek, and who had 2 children that went through the Broward school system successfully. And quite frankly, I've been beating my head against the wall over this issue since 1999, when they field tested it when my 23-year-old daughter was in 3rd grade. That's how long this has been an issue. And what is exciting to me is that everything that so many of us have fought for, the idea of you need 3 years to roll out something, is culminated in this resolution. But just as the parents, by the way, these lovely ladies I know from Facebook for 4 years, just met them today in person, we need to stop passing resolutions and start taking action and saying no. Because you're going to find more and more parents that are going to say, I'm not taking this anymore. And I'm not sending my kids to school during the practice tests. I stopped sending my children, my high schoolers, to school when we had bats. I stood up and said, not happening anymore. I wish I'd had the guts to say, not taking the FCAT anymore. But there are more and more parents that are going to push and push until all the school boards in this state are going to have to say, enough's enough. Thank you for this resolution. It's very exciting for me to see so many support the idea that we need a different system of accountability. Thank you.